Hi everyone, travel addict guy here, and I have some breaking news from Spain. New law introduces stricter face mask rules in Spain. Described as obsolete at a meeting of health officials, the legislation has triggered some angry reactions, with the Balearic Islands saying the mandate will not be applied on their territory. Social distancing will no longer be a determining factor for wearing a mask in Spain. On Tuesday, the government published a law in the official state gazette, BOE, making masks mandatory in all public spaces regardless of the distance between people. The measure immediately raised questions among some regional officials, some of whom reacted defiantly at the news. The government of the Balearic Islands on Wednesday said that the law would not be enforced on its beaches and swimming pools. They want to make you wear a mask on the beach as well and in swimming pools now, and I think that is going to be a death knell to the tourism industry if they go ahead with that. Who is going to want to wear a mask on the beach? Even the Spanish people don't want to do that. Shortly after the law's publication in the BOE, the government admitted that the guidelines, which build on a decree passed in June of last year, may have been overtaken by today's reality and improved knowledge about the virus. So a lot of people upset about this new law that's gone into effect, and they are forcing some action by the government to go ahead and review that. And Spain's tourism industry especially has been upset. Spain's tourism industry rails against new face mask rules. They are going to turn beaches into field hospitals, is what they have said. Experts from the sector argue making coverings mandatory in all public spaces will hurt businesses and not do anything to stop virus contagions. Well, I think that is a given. It's going to be extremely bad for tourism, let's put it that way. After a punishing year, the Spanish tourism sector is desperately in need of good news. But instead, the new law making face masks mandatory in all public spaces regardless of the distance between people has come as an additional blow. Until now, the law only imposed the use of masks if a safe distance of 1.5 meters could not be respected. The change in the law went largely unnoticed until it was flagged by El País, which is a major newspaper here in Spain. Despite its publication in the official state bulletin, the obligation to keep mouths and noses covered in public spaces, including the beach and swimming pools, will undoubtedly put a number of tourists off coming to Spain. We are going through the kind of hell that threatens to wipe out thousands and thousands of jobs and businesses, says Jose Luis Zoreda, vice president of Exceltur, the main lobby group for Spanish tourism, a sector which accounted for 12% of the country's gross domestic product, or GDP, prior to the health crisis. And now they want to turn the beaches into open air field hospitals. So let's be honest, guys, if they go ahead with this measure, if they decide to make you wear a mask on the beach this summer, that is going to be a death knell to tourism. I've already had a lot of comments on my channel talking about people are going to go to Greece, they're going to go elsewhere, they're going to go to different places. And if they go ahead and do that, who is going to want to go to the beach and sit there with a mask on? That is kind of crazy, guys. Here's another thing I wanted to talk about. We know that the Brexit has badly affected British people that want to become residents now. Here is a report about that. UK Embassy addresses concerns over media reports of Spain deporting Britons now. Spanish government has no plans to find and expel UK citizens who have made this country their home, but officials note that anyone living there regularly must apply for residency, so you have to go ahead and do that. The UK Embassy in Spain has issued a statement following media reports that the Spanish government was planning to actively find and deport Britons living illegally in the country post-Brexit. The embassy quotes a Spanish Ministry of Inclusion spokesperson is saying that the Spanish government has no plans to deport British citizens who have made Spain their home. Well, that is good news for British citizens living here in Spain. The Spanish government is working to provide maximum legal certainty for British citizen residents in Spain. Throughout the negotiations, the issue of citizens' rights has been and remains one of the main priorities. Spain is the country of residence of the largest community of UK nationals in the EU, added the ministry source. However, officials also note that since January 1st, when the Brexit transition period ended, UK nationals have been bound by the same rules that apply to third country citizens from outside the European Union or Schengen space. So you got to go ahead and follow those rules, guys. If you're a British citizen, that has all changed since January the 1st. British nationals may spend 90 days out of every 180-day period within the Schengen area for tourism or other specific purposes, such as business meetings, without requiring a visa. The 90-day visitor rule does not apply to Britons who already registered as residents of Spain or in the process of doing so. Thousands of previously unregistered UK nationals applied for Spanish residency before the deadline, but there are still many others who have failed to do so despite spending much of their time in the country. So that's something you guys have to keep in mind. You have to take care of that. If you are a British citizen and you want to spend more time in Spain, the rules have changed. You got to go ahead and abide by those rules, or you could be in trouble with the Spanish government. Here are some new news about the numbers here on the cases now in Spain. Spain once again returns to the high-risk virus zone after exceeding the 150 cumulative incidence rate per 100,000 residents. The country's Ministry of Health reports 8,534 new cases in one day and 154 deaths. After exceeding the virus cumulative incidence rate of 150 cases per 100,000 inhabitants in 14 days, and that just puts us now in the danger zone. Spain returned to C19 high-risk zone this Wednesday, March the 31st, something that has not happened since March the 4th. Specifically, the incidence rate stood at 152.25, 5 points more than on Tuesday. The autonomous cities Melilla 475 and Ceuta 294 continue to set the national highs, but there are already two regions, Navarra with 294 and Madrid at 264, which are classified at extreme risk, being above the 250 cases. And who did not see that coming? When they allowed all the German and French tourists to come in and to party over the last few weeks, who did not see that rise coming? I think that was very easy to predict. With some good news, at the other end of the scale is the Valencian community with a rate of only 28 cases, and the only region that meets the government's objective of being below 50 per 100,000. The Ministry of Health reported this Wednesday spikes in both the number of new infections and deaths. The department headed by Carolina Darius registered 8,534 new cases, almost double that of Tuesday and the highest daily number since 25th of February. So that is some alarming news, and that comes just at the wrong time, because this is when Spain is trying to reopen for the spring and the summer, trying to bring tourists in. And you see that is the problem. You can mandate all these rules, but when you try to bring foreigners in, you're gonna have a spike in cases, and there's not much they can do about that. So that is gonna be very, very interesting going forward to see how they can handle that. And they're proposing those mask rules, and that is gonna turn off tourists further from wanting to come to Spain, unfortunately. So that is the latest news, and I have the Catman here with me again. So what do you think about all this news, Catman? What do you think about wearing the mask on the beach now?
Yeah, because the only excuse is the cases, what they put up, and they have no scientific base behind them. So it is kind of curious, like, yeah, it's like the same thing, like, okay, I would kick this grandma because tomato. That's right. Like the logic here.
So if you have to wear a mask, are you going to go to the beach this summer, or are you just going to avoid the beach?
I'm going to avoid the mask in the beaches. Because we are humans and we are not animals. We are not supposed to have a leash on our necks, and this is the leash.
Well, I know they tried to experiment with this a little bit last year, and they failed miserably because the Spanish people would not wear the mask at the beach. I remember that.
But now you can see everyone is already used to the mask after 1 year, so now they can do it because everyone approves already.
That's possible.
So that's why they do it like bit by bit. and that's how you can get control of everyone.
So a lot of people out for Semana Santa, and they're having a little bit of festivities. They're very muted, but they're having a little bit of bands out here playing, and some people are able to line up and see these artifacts, these thrones here in the churches. So here's some going on here to my right and behind me. You take a look at that. And you've got the bands there getting ready to play. And you've got some of the women dressed up like they're going to a funeral to mourn the death of Jesus at this time of year. That's what this is all about, guys. So you can see behind me, guys, there's an extremely long queue there. They are waiting to go and see those relics. Wow. It stretches all the way around here. There's a lot of people there waiting in line today. Look at that. It stretches all the way from here all the way around the side.
Oh yeah, all the way to the other side.
All the way to the other side. Wow. That's a lot of people.
Should we start waiting? Maybe in 3 days we are there.
Yeah, that's gonna take a while, guys. Look at that.
It's like all the way from here.
From all there all the way around. Look at that. Wow. That must be an important ceremony they're gonna have over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, imagine like 2 years back they used to carry these things to show people, but
right.
Now they want people to go inside the building.
But how is that safe? How is that safe there with all those people lined up there in close quarters? How is that any safer than the previous thing?
No, because it's nothing to do with safety. It's just a command.
You can see all those people waiting in line, guys. And they're in close quarters there, all of them. I don't see how that is any safer. There's no social distancing going on there. They have the mask on, but there's no social distancing going on. Really don't understand this one. So you can see, guys, a lot of people lining up here to see those thrones. I was talking about that yesterday, and that is what they are doing. Those normally would be out in the street in processions, but now it's just you're able to line up and go ahead and see those. So at least they can do that now for Semana Santa. We're crossing over this bridge here. Where did Miko go? Oh, there he is. Crossing over this bridge, and there's a lot of people here, guys, and they are lined up. Looks like there's another one here in this small church here. They are lined up to see these thrones, these religious artifacts here. And there's one in here. Just a memorial there.
Yeah, there's usually
well, a lot of people out today, guys.
I think there is.
And there was a picture today in the El País, and it showed everyone partying, a lot of young people partying without masks. Didn't it, Miko? You were talking about that.
Starting to get everywhere, this thing. And I think was it in Belgium, like they finally admitted that it was all a hoax, the PCR tests. So they stop it. And it's gonna be everywhere soon.
There's a lot of people over here. Look at all the people, guys. Here's another one here, guys. It's called the Cofradia Sagrada Cena. So the Holy Dinner. And the Cofradia, they're waiting to go in there. The Cofradia is like the Brotherhood, and that's where they keep these thrones inside of there. Basically like little mini churches, I guess. That's what they call them, Cofradias. And there's another one of those there. So you see a lot of these have opened up, and that's what they're doing. They're allowing people to see those artifacts. And normally they'd be paraded through the streets here in Malaga, but not this year. I can see a lot of people out, guys. And here's another one of those cofradias to my right. People waiting to get into this church. So that's the latest news from Malaga. We'll see you in the next video. Travel Addict Guy. Take care, everyone.